Hello everyone, this is Crafterman, and welcome to another episode of Minecraft, Green Plateau. So in my last episode I went on a vacation here to Survivor Island, and I explained that this river here is the Great Deeston River, and I said that I would explain why it was called this in the next episode, which is now this episode. So yeah, and this episode ends in 6, which is the story episode, because I have like a system for this. So yeah, now I will explain how the Deeston River got its name. It all started with a chicken named Phoebe who lived about 500 Minecraft years ago. Now she lived in a place where there weren't many resources. All around her, all there were dead fields and other animals struggling to find food. But Phoebe was smart. She knew that she could find a way to feed herself and the people around her if she could just figure out what was in the world. She found an old cave and decided she was going to turn it into a research center for herself. She began experimenting with the properties of Minecraft, how everything in Minecraft worked. And you know how everyone's talking about how you can get seeds from grass? Yeah, she invented that. She bred a new species called Ents that could plant their own trees wherever they walked. Finally, she learned to channel water by creating aqueducts and filled the desolate, dry sand rivers with flowing water. So with the little water and supplies that Phoebe had, Phoebe began to farm the land around her and plant food, which no one had ever really done in that barren land before. Phoebe then began to sell her crops, handing out wheat to anyone who was willing to help her. Before long, she had an army of people willing to help her out in exchange for food. They built a village in which they could feed themselves without any trouble, and soon they began to take over more land. Many people were willing to give it to them as they were the only source of food in a long area. And over time, they developed their village into a huge city ruled by a majestic castle. Phoebe was pretty pleased with herself, but trouble would soon come. She expanded her civilization into an empire and named it Relica, but they would soon encounter another empire whose greed for land would arise. Phoebe knew where the territory ended. It ended at a long, thick, unnamed river, and across that river there lived many tribes. But the new empire of Deeston was expanding their territory quickly. They conquered all the tribes on the other side of the river, and named the river the Deeston River. After a few years, Deeston challenged Relica to a battle over an area of forested land. Phoebe knew it would be just a matter of time before Deeston tried to take over Relica, too. Phoebe was devastated. She knew that whatever army the Relicans had was no match for the Deeston military. But then she remembered that she was Phoebe, the great leader of Relica, and she was not going to let Deeston take them over, no matter how strong their military might be. Phoebe let the Deeston troops come onto her territory. She knew that they would not last long. Deeston thought that Relica lived in a plentiful valley of resources if they were so strong and big, but what they did not know is that Relica actually lived off the secret tricks of surviving in a barren wasteland. The troops began to starve to death one by one. Long story short, Deeston did not succeed in taking over Relica, at least not until Phoebe died, but Deeston really didn't mind that. They were happy as long as they had control of the great Deeston River.